4 weeks to go until the huge super middleweight rematch between Carl Froch and George Groves on May the 31st at Wembley Stadium. And as you can see, the challenger is here with us this afternoon. George, great to see you. We can now say that this rematch takes place this month. It's May the 1st, May the 31st for the rematch. How does that sound and how much are you looking forward to it?
It sounds great, really, because I've put in a lot of training and I'm looking forward to getting into that final phase of preparation. Training's gone really well. I'm back sparring. I'm marked up as usual. But we got about 3 weeks of real graft starting next week, and then we're good to go. Another
20,000 tickets went on sale at midday, sold within minutes. So that's an 80,000 capacity audience for this fight. Extraordinary demand, but with that does there come extraordinary pressure that you've got to handle too?
I think it's all down to the individual. It would never really make a difference to me how many people were there because I'm just tuned into the task at hand. I've got to make sure I get that win. So I've boxed in front of a welcoming, lovely support, and I've boxed in front of boos. You know, I've walked to the ring getting jeered and the rest of it. So, you know, I can deal with pressure from a crowd. It's going to be electric. You know, I'm just excited for the people that are going to be there. You know, because it's going to be an awesome night of boxing.
You mentioned how you fought in front of people that have booed you, and of course in that first fight when you walked in, you know, they weren't particularly happy with you, were they? But by the end of it, it all changed. But how do you mentally deal with that, though, when you know a crowd is against you?
I never really have any feeling towards it at all. I have no emotion towards it, so I don't crave it in case I don't have it, and I don't, like, despise it or use it as a motivational tool to try and make me angry. I just sort of nothing it. That was the best way, I think, to deal with sport as if it's business, you know, be clinical. But it was one of the things. The way I got painted before that fight, I knew, although I was the underdog, it was Carl Froch who appeared to be the underdog. He appeared to be like a victim, and when I was pulling him apart and saying things that he didn't like and he didn't know how to respond, I think people felt like I was bullying him. But ultimately, he was the champion. He's 11 years my senior. He's had an awful lot more fights than me. And I dominated him before the fight and ended up dominating him during the fight. So that's why I won over a few fans that night.
You're going to be on ringside with Carl later today. It's the first time you've ever seen him since he pushed you at that Wembley Media Day a couple of months ago. He said he successfully wound you up that day. You think that's right?
Yeah, I was so wound up, I got pushed. So, no, Carl, he's doing his utmost to hold it together this time. And we got to the point here where he was on the pitch and they said, can you do a face-off, which is obviously standard practice in professional boxing. It doesn't mean much. He wouldn't do it. So I said, you're holding it together, Carl. You got to hold it together. And that was enough to make him lash out and lose his cool. Since then, he's said that I spat on him at the time and that my lip was quivering. He tells a lot of lies, but the problem with his lies is that it's documented. You just showed highlights of it. My lips wasn't quivering. I didn't go red. He totally lost his cool. So it's interesting.
He's admitted that you got under his skin before the first fight. Is that going to be a definite tactic from you again over the coming weeks?
It's one of those things. If it happens, it happens. It doesn't. I don't need it. You know, I beat him. I beat the very best Carl Froch that there could ever be. I still have more than enough in the tank to beat him. If he winds himself up, that's his problem. It's not mine. You know, I only told the truth the first time round. You know, I didn't try and attack him personally. I didn't do anything that was underhand. All I said was, oh, when you box, you make this mistake, this mistake, and John, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and you know, I actually went out and did it. So if he's got wound up or that got under his skin again, that's his issue.
As Natalie said, you're on ringside later with Carl. Now, the last time you met on ringside, we can have a look at it now. Things got a little bit heated. Here we go.
You're finding this tough, aren't you?
Yeah, go on. Ask me another question.
You're going to cry? You're going to cry, aren't you? Don't cry. I can hear your voice breaking. What's that? Come on now.
Johnny, you were saying.
What?
Sorry, excuse. I apologise on George's behalf. Carry on, mate.
Oh my... He's going to cry. Adam, is he going to cry? Are you OK?
What's happening right now?
Are you all right? What's happening? Don't go, don't... Eddie's sitting here. He's sitting here, but he can't help you.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I use in the phrase for this fight, everything for a reason, and in the first build-up, you know, to the first fight, it was everything for a reason still. I had the impression that I would, you know, maybe turn people against me a little bit because I had to, you know, let Carl Froch know that he's in there with a real man because he keeps saying that he's in there with a boy who he can knock out in sparring and it's a no contest. So just let him know that I'm here. I'm a presence. I'm a physical presence. And that almost caught me off guard, I'll be honest, because he was going to cry. And he managed to just hold his lip in time. He turned to his promoter, Eddie, and said, Eddie, you know, what's going on? And it just showed more and more signs of a champion who's just in a really vulnerable state. And in day-to-day life, it's not nice, but in boxing, it's a brutal, clinical game, you know, and you can't take no prisoners. So, you know, if Cole can't hold it together before the fight, he certainly ain't going to hold it together during the fight.
So it's very much a physical battle, of course, but do you say then that it's also a psychological one as well, that you like to get under the skin, and is that part of your game plan as well?
Yeah, as I say, it can be a massive advantage. The fights can get won and lost before you ring walk sometimes. I don't need to, like, hope that happens this time around. I think a lot of Cole Froch fans and pro-Cole Froch people in the media are saying that, you know, that's the reason Cole performed the way he did the first time. He had no bearing on the fight. I'm still faster than him. I still hit hard enough to hurt him. So whether he fell to pieces mentally before the fight or not, it would have been the same result. He, by the time he walked to the ring, he stood in the corner and hid behind his trainer and his brothers and an army of sort of followers and entourage. And that's not the sign of a warrior. You know, if you're going to battle, then you stand at the front and you beat your chest and you're ready to put it all on the line. But he didn't. He hid in the corner and he looked panicked.
But he got up there and he came back at you.
He got up. He got up. He didn't come back at me, in my opinion. He got up, and he's good at getting up. You know, he's good at when his back's against the wall, he'll lash out. He could take a punch, certainly, but the fight should never have been stopped. So, you know, people have already asked him, saying, "What confidence do you take from the first fight?" He said, "Well, I won, didn't I?" Well, that's not the best way to approach another fight. Is that, well, I won somehow. I don't have a clue how it happened. I didn't deserve it, but, you know, my fingers crossed it happens again.
Of course, Eddie Hearn has an agenda. Bear in mind that he looks after Cole, but he said he doesn't think Froch can be any worse than he was in the first fight, but questions whether you can be any better. What do you make of that?
Eddie, as you so well put it, has an agenda. Cole can be a lot worse and has boxed a lot worse before in the past. And Cole's coming off the back of a horrific beating that he took against me. And he hasn't had 2 fights or 3 fights to readjust. He hasn't had time to get his confidence back. He's been thrown right in at the deep end by his friend Eddie, forced into a fight he doesn't want to take, forced to come to London and fight in my backyard. So Eddie's a clever man, but he's not. You know, he's crossing his wires a little bit here because he's put business in front of friendship and he's forced Cole Froch into a situation he desperately doesn't want to be in. So Eddie can talk this fight up and try and make it sound as 50-50 as possible, but that was a fraction of what potential I could have brought to the table that night. I'm going to be an awful lot better come May 31st. And Cole Froch, I just hope he's better.
You've been trained again by Paddy Fitzpatrick, who you joined up with a few weeks ahead of the first fight when you split with Adam Booth. Have you had any contact with Adam at all, and how's your training going with Paddy?
Me and Adam parted ways after the fight, and our training's been going great with Paddy, really working well. We've had some significant time to put some stuff together because, you know, before the first fight, he couldn't really try and reinvent the wheel with me. We only had 8-9 weeks. We just had to prepare for a fight. This time around, we've had a lot more time together in the gym. He knows an awful lot more about me, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. So we understand each other a lot better, and he can really bring forward his, you know, his approach to this fight and what he believes, you know, is the right tactics, the right game plan. He can see whether that stuff's working with me, working in the gym, working in sparring, and it is. You know, I'm in a really, really good, great place that I'm fortunate I'm working with a great trainer.
And what is your relationship with Adam Booth now?
Yeah, we parted ways. We hope to remain friends, and we don't work together in a professional manner. But, you know, Adam, you know, he's been a friend of mine for a long time. So I hope that we keep that friendship. You know, but for now, you know, I've got to move on with my career.
And finally, as a Chelsea fan, have you got over last night yet?
Not yet, no. the tube strike really messed me up because I pushed all my sessions forward so that I could get home and watch the game, and I still only got in for the second half, and I must be bad luck because it all started to fall to pieces from there.
Oh. Well, the Premier League still on anyway.
Yeah, the Premier League still on. Fingers crossed for that.
Good stuff. George, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing more of you on ringside a little bit later.
Yeah, you can see George and Carl Froch then on ringside tonight. That's from 6 on Sky Sports 1. Don't forget that live. There is a live Q&A session, we should say, with Froch and Groves at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can take part by going to facebook.com/Sky Sports. All gearing up, of course, for the big one. The rematch live on Sky Sports box office on May the 31st.